Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Sunday, August 8th. This is your Daily Buckeye Fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 25 days. The game against Michigan in 111 days. Now they're doing some weekend Morning Scoop shows as well. We're trying out a few different formats and are interested in what you guys think. Let us know on the Ask the Insiders board at BuckeyeScoop.com or just hit me up on Twitter and say, hey, I like that. Hey, I don't like that. Or hey, why don't you try this? So today we're trying something a little different. Wanted to share a few sound bites from interviews from Ohio State players and coaches this week to let you hear directly from them on some interesting stories we've been covering and some things we've been talking about on shows this week. The first one is from Ryan Day. We talked to him early in the week, right after the first practice of fall camp. He was asked for kind of like a state of the program update and where things stood with the Buckeyes right now.
Really what it is just, it's kind of the transition from that 11 weeks of working with the team and the strength staff. They're there. And then all of a sudden we get back into football and that transition. And so, our tradition the last couple of years has just been having that meeting and then really Coach Mick kind of handing over the team. We don't do it as much of a, production of it as they had in the past, but it's the same thing. I mean, that's what's going on. We're transitioning from all that work, all that conflict, all that leadership and accountability that was so important that we're going to fall back on. And we do it all the time. Like during the season when things go bad, we fall back on these 11 weeks, all the stuff that we did with mat drills and different things in the winter as well. A huge part of our program, and so, but now we get into football and there's a little bit of a transition there, like you're saying.
Obviously, there are a lot of questions about your team, starting with quarterback, but give me a sense of just how you feel about this team, and the fact that this is kind of back to normal, kind of back to normal.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of guys on the team that have played a lot of football. When you think about some of the guys in the offensive line, you look at Haskell Garrett, you look at Antoine Jackson and Zach Harrison. You look at Jeremy Rucker's played a lot of football. Chris Olave's played. So there's been some guys, Master T, they played a lot of football, but there's also a lot of young guys. So it's a combination of the two. I don't think we'll really know until we start getting to some of these games and figure it out because there's a lot of big personalities and a lot of production that left the team from last year. So certainly at the linebacker position, about four guys that had such an impact on leadership and production on the field. So I don't think we know yet, but I think coming off of the summer, talking about how many guys made gold and how many Iron Buckeyes we had, that's a great projection into what's going to happen in the fall. And so if we can stay healthy and continue to work the way we're working, we're going to have a good season.
How many guys made Iron Buckeye?
I don't know the exact number. I can get it to you next time. I'll have to get it.
At that first practice, one of the big notes was that Mayan Williams and not Master Teague was running first with the running backs. Williams is a guy who we've heard a ton of positive buzz about, but that was still probably an earlier jump to the top of the depth chart than pretty much anyone anticipated, I think. So here is Day talking about Williams and what makes him such a good running back.
Yeah, I think Mayan has worked really, really hard. If you look at his body right now, it's hard. It's, he looks strong out there. He's worked really, really hard in the weight room. And, we had his opportunity last year. He did a good job in a couple of the runs, certainly the big run against Clemson that he had. But we'll still wait to see how it goes. But I thought his pass protection in the spring was excellent. We've got to keep building on that. For a guy like you said, who was a little bit under the radar coming in, he's made a big impact.
And how are you splitting up the reps at that position this spring to kind of get more guys in there?
Yeah, we're just trying to even them out the best we can. Leaving that up to Tony and in that room. The good news is because we have 117 guys in camp for the super senior situation. It's the most we've ever had. We're actually able to go threes and get a lot more reps. And even after practice, doing some extra work out there like we just did, get about 13 reps with some of the younger guys as the older guys go in. So I'll have to count the total reps that we had, but I want to say we were north of 100 reps today. So there's a lot of reps to go around because this team needs it. And so that's why we have to stay healthy. And that was the message I had for the team after practice. The race is on to recovery to get to tomorrow because if guys aren't practicing, they're not getting better. And so the more reps we can get this summer and the more reps that we can get to that running back room, the stronger they'll get. And so it's like that in a lot of positions, but that's exactly one of them that we got to get a lot of those guys in reps.
After that first practice, and still to this day, Ryan Day can't actually talk about Quinn Ewers because Ewers is not officially enrolled at Ohio State yet. That is probably going to happen sometime later this week, but still he is officially on the cannot be discussed list. And Day also really wouldn't, after that first practice, talk about where things stood with the three quarterbacks who are already on campus: Jack Miller, CJ Stroud, and Kyle McCord. One thing he did talk about, though, was Kyle McCord's leadership as a recruit. And now with him rooming with all three freshman wide receivers, how that leadership has kind of continued into his time as a member of the Ohio State football team.
Yeah, I think there's a bond. I mentioned it again. I brought all the freshmen in here, and I mentioned to them that report date last night, when I played was, you meet somebody for the first time. When you show up at the dorm and you got your box fan, and that's so different now. Now they live in apartments and they've known each other for 2 years, and they already have that bond and that relationship. And so I think it's something that you got to give Kyle credit for in the recruiting process. I mean, he on offense and Jack Sawyer on defense, really was the glue to that class, and he's had an impact on those three guys, and they all live together, and there's a bond there, there's a connection there, and so then that's leadership. And, hats off to Kyle for doing that, and it's going to pay dividends in the end.
So that was Ryan Day talking about Kyle McCord. We actually get to talk to Kyle McCord himself as well for the first time since he enrolled at Ohio State. He had a bunch of really interesting things to say on a wide variety of topics, and I would encourage you to check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop. Find that Kyle McCord interview, watch that whole interview. He's a very impressive kid as a freshman, had a lot of interesting things to say. One of the things he was asked about was, you're competing for the starting job. All three guys are still in the running for that starting job. What is it actually going to take to win the starting job? What have the coaches told you about how they're going to decide who actually wins that starting quarterback job for Ohio State this fall?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question, but I'd say just focusing on myself. I'm confident in myself that if I go out and, do what I'm asked to do and really dial in, I feel like I'll put myself in a good position. But I think it's a lot more than just throwing the ball. Like I said, I think it's, how well can you lead the team? Are you accountable? Do you do the right things off the field? So I think it's really just the lifestyle of being the quarterback, especially at a school like this. So that's definitely a loaded question, but, it's going to take a lot.
Do you feel like somebody's watching you every move you make now? If you're following my meaning, somebody's perusing or analyzing what you're all about and stuff almost 24/7. What does it feel like, I guess, to be in this bubble?
I wouldn't say that. I feel like there's people on top of me, watching every move, but I definitely see what you're saying. I feel like, there'll be, criticism in whatever you do, whatever decision you make. But I feel like the biggest thing is just doing what you feel is right and what you feel is good for you and your development and what's best for the team ultimately. So.
On the other side of the ball, one of the big stories in fall camp is the return of Cameron Brown. He suffered an Achilles injury during the Penn State game last fall, missed the rest of the season. Ohio State really missed him as a presence on the defensive backfield towards the end of the year when they were having, they were pretty short on people, and the loss of Cam Brown was a big part of that reason why. Coming into this year, there was sort of a question. That can be a tough injury for a guy to come back from, especially at a position like corner where you've got a lot of quick change of direction and quick, movement and explosive movement and that kind of stuff. So how is his recovery going? Here you can hear directly from Cam Brown on what that recovery was like from that Achilles injury last fall.
Probably the spring. I felt like I was good enough to play in the spring, but I had to be smart about it because I don't want to come back too early and something else happen.
How you say be smart about it? I would think it's got to be tough to be thinking, I need to hold back, make sure it's the right time, because there's a position out there to win. That there's like a spot out there for you, right? Like how do you kind of balance that?
I always want to go out there and push myself, but they keep me, make sure my trainers make sure that I'm stay healthy and make sure I'm not trying to overdo it.
Did you learn?
I'll try to do it.
Sorry, did you learn anything from last year? Like, do you when you can only watch, do you see the game in a different way? Did you get a new perspective at all on playing corner, on being a football player?
I got more into watching film and understanding the playbook, and just staying. I was more of it was different. I was always saying it was very different.
After missing so much time, what was it like just to get back out there on Wednesday and finally practice again?
It was fun. It was exciting. I was happy. Ready to go. I was probably the most energized guy out there. Ready.
Brown is not still getting full reps. Ryan Day has said he's on something of a pitch count right now, so he is not going 100% of the time that he could have. But Kerry Coombs on Friday was asked about just how big it is to have Brown back on the field. He's sort of shown some flashes already as far as being potentially back to close to 100%. Here's Coombs talking about just how big it would be to have Brown back and on the field this fall.
Well, it means everything, right? You know, Cam was playing really well last year. People forget that. You know, he had a good camp. He's playing really well. He's going out there playing nickel, playing man-to-man in some tough situations, and he was playing really well. And so it was a heartbreaking injury for him. Worked hard to rehab it. Found himself in a good spot right now. We are going to be careful. We are going to be cautious. We should be. But at the same time, he's got to knock the rust off, and he's got to be ready to play. But he's fast. He's twitchy. You know, and he's going to go out there and compete.
I imagine this is probably a combination of things, but he's played a lot before, so maybe he doesn't need a ton of reps, and he's coming back from injury. So is that going into the balance there?
No, he needs a ton of reps.
Okay.
You know, that just, we all need a ton of reps, but we're going to be smart about it, and we have to be, because we can't show up, you know, September 2nd with half the guys, unless we can't help it. But if we can help it, we're going to help it, everything we can. And he's got to do his part to take care of his body.
So that's Cameron Brown. Another guy in that defensive backfield who has been the topic of a lot of conversation this week is Demario McCall. Now, you probably remember him from such positions as running back and wide receiver and kick returner. Well, now he's a cornerback. That was a move that Demario himself asked to make just because he wants to get on the field. And it was not happening at wide receiver. It was not happening at running back. He wants to play. He wants to contribute. That's where he thinks he can do it this year. Kerry Coombs was asked about him this week, had a lot of very positive things to say. Thinks McCall is doing a really good job learning and just kind of being a sponge and absorbing it all. Because he hasn't played corner, he doesn't have bad habits. That was something that Combs liked a lot. He said he's just kind of a block of clay and they can mold him into what they want to mold him into. What was maybe more surprising was, you know, is Demario McCall going to play? And Kerry Coombs was pretty emphatic, like, yes, Demario McCall is going to play for this team this year.
Because Matt had a great description of Demario yesterday, and he told the DBs, he said, he's a piece of clay. He's a piece of clay. He just does everything the way we tell him to do it because he's never done it before. Whereas other guys, right, do things the way they want to do it because they've done it before. Not Demario. So he is doing things exactly the way, because he didn't know any better. And you love that about Demario. And he's high energy, he's quick twitch. You know, I'm excited to watch him play. And he gets out there and he's a rep eater. He shows up every day, he's eating a bunch of reps, and he's competing. And there's more than one occasion in the meeting room where Matt's pointing out, hey, this is the best of these techniques that we've had so far. This is the best, and it's Demario. That's fantastic.
It's only second day of practice, so you can't really make much.
Third, I think, but that's okay.
Okay, I will.
Sorry.
How big a role can he have?
I don't know. I mean, we got a month. He's going to play. He's going to play. So, you know, that's the great thing about where we are right now. We got guys that are competing, guys that are going to play, and guys that are confidence givers right now, which I love about them. You feel confident that they go out in the field, you can call what you want and go play ball.
Hopefully you guys like that. That was a little different from our normal morning scoop shows, but we just wanted to try something a little different today. If you liked it, let us know. If you didn't like us, let us know. If you have some other ideas on how you'd like us to structure some of these new weekend shows, let us know that as well. You can message me on Twitter. You can leave a comment on our Ask the Insiders board. You can leave a review on your podcast platform of choice, whatever works. Just let us know if there's something else you guys would like us to see us doing or want us to do these a little bit of a different way. Later today, we have hotel check-in day, a fantastic tradition, a little weird, but a fantastic tradition nonetheless, an annual rite of passage for Ohio State football every August as a whole bunch of media stands outside a hotel and takes pictures of teenagers rolling suitcases inside. It's a little weird. That's okay. Everyone, it is become a message board tradition, an Ohio State Twitter tradition, and it will happen a little bit later on today. You can find all sorts of videos and photos and all that kind of stuff on our Ask the Insiders board at BuckeyeScoop.com. You can follow us on Twitter at BuckeyeScoop, and also make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BuckeyeScoop. There will be a link at the end of this video, a little, another video you can watch on one side of the screen and a Buckeye Scoop logo on the other that you can click on to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on that, subscribe to YouTube, and then you get notified when we post videos from that this afternoon. It's weird. It's fine. This is a judgment-free zone. We're not going to shame you for being interested in watching high school or college players walk into a hotel. It has just become a tradition. It's fine. It's not the weirdest thing that Ohio State football does, or Ohio State football fans do. So it'll be fine. So hopefully you guys enjoy that a little bit later on today. We will be out there. Tony Gerdman and I will be out there covering that. And of course, we will be back again tomorrow morning with another episode of the Morning Scoop. So thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.